Wind Power by Courtney Lammis. Alternative energy is energy derived from sources that do not use up natural resources or harm the environment. About 30% of the energy used in commercial and industrial buildings is used inefficiently or unnecessarily. To save energy, scientists and many others have come up with alternate energy sources to lessen the use of the Earth's natural resources. Wind power is the conversion of wind energy into a useful form of energy, such as using wind turbines to make electrical power, windmills for mechanical power, wind pumps for water pumping or drainage, or sails to propel ships. Wind power all starts with the sun. When the sun heats up a certain area of land, the air around that land mass absorbs some of that heat. At a certain temperature, that hotter air begins to rise very quickly because a given volume of hot air is lighter than an equal volume of cooler air. Faster moving hot air particles exert more pressure than slower moving particles, so it takes fewer of them to maintain the normal air pressure at a given elevation. When that hot air suddenly rises, cooler air flows quickly in to fill the gap the hot air leaves behind. That air rushing in to fill the gap is wind. What is a wind farm? A wind farm is a group of wind turbines in the same location used for production of electricity. A large wind farm may consist of several hundred individual wind turbines and cover an extended area of hundreds of square miles, but the land between the turbines may be used for agricultural or other purposes. A wind farm may also be located offshore. Almost all large wind turbines have the same design. A horizontal axis wind turbine having an upwind rotor with 3 blades attached to a nacelle on top of a tall tubular tower. In a wind farm, individual turbines are interconnected with a medium voltage, often 34.5 kV, power collection system and a communications network. At a substation, this medium voltage electric current is increased in voltage with a transformer for connection to the high voltage electric power transmission system. How much do wind turbines cost? Well, the cost for a utility-scale wind turbine in 2012 ranged from about $1.3 million to $2.2 million. Most of the commercial-scale turbines installed today are 2 megawatt in size and cost roughly $3 to $4 million installed. Wind turbines have significant economies of scale. Smaller farm or residential scale turbines cost less overall but are more expensive per kilowatt of energy producing capacity. Wind turbines under 100 kilowatts cost roughly $3,000 to $8,000 per kilowatt of capacity. A 10 kilowatt machine, the size needed to power a large home, might have an installed cost of $50,000 to $80,000 or more depending on the power type, height, and the cost of installation. Oftentimes there are tax and other incentives that can dramatically reduce the cost of a wind project. Wind power as an alternative to fossil fuels is plentiful, renewable, widely distributed, clean, produces no greenhouse gas emissions during operation and uses little land. The effects on the environment are generally less problematic than those from other power sources. As of 2011, Denmark is generating more than a quarter of its electricity from wind, and 83 countries around the world are using wind power on a commercial basis. In 2010, wind energy production was over 2.5% of total worldwide electricity usage, and growing rapidly at more than 25% per year. The monetary cost per unit of energy produced is similar to the cost for new coal and natural gas installations. With all the things, there comes a debate about the pros and cons about wind power. Wind is renewable, freely available, and tax-free. Farm businesses may be even eligible to receive a wind production tax credit. No pollution or waste is generated by the system's operation. Depending on the wind turbine selected, the equipment can be low maintenance. In general, the more complex the system and the moving parts, the more likely repairs or maintenance will be needed. There are numerous statewide wind energy financial incentives. According to a database of state incentives for renewables and efficiency, land within the acre or two needed for a residential wind turbine can still be used for pasture, gardens, or other agricultural purposes. Now with all the good about wind power, here comes the questionable. Wind is highly variable. Wind speed varies by numerous factors including weather, location, and season, so not all places are appropriate for wind energy. Equipment requires a sizable upfront investment depending on the size of the system selected. To meet the needs of a modest hobby farm, after energy conservation and efficiency efforts have been exhausted, a 10 kW system that costs $40,000 to $70,000 would be needed to become a net producer of electricity on an annual basis. Wind turbines are not created equal. Some require considerably more maintenance and service than others. While possible harm may be done to birds, research studies, such as one by the National Wind Coordinating Committee, have found that collisions with windows in buildings and vehicles captured by outdoor cats, as well as poisoning due to chemicals, cause far more avian fatalities than encounters with residential wind systems.